temperature, but there's a real sweet spot where you want that temperature to be at. And you don't want to go over and you don't want to go under. For maple, this is for maple. I'm talking about Canadian maple. All the roasted stuff smells good. Panic, what's going on? What are you up to, Panic? How was your weekend? Robinia. Bow River has a bunch of torrefied Robinia. I've never used it before. Torrefied. The 335, several hours roasted. You got it at Bow River? Yeah. See how it comes out. I'm interested. I've never seen Robinia before. I'm not familiar with it. Okay, Gopher, you have a good rest of your day, and we'll catch you again. You guys, give Virtual Gopher a follow if you haven't already. Those are a lot of emotes, Panic. Panic, how was your 4th of July? But yeah, so there's many ways to bolt on a neck. There's a lot of ways. There's no right or wrong. You don't have to do threaded inserts. I'm going to do threaded inserts on this one. But you honestly don't have to. You can bolt it on. It works fine. It's worked fine for 80 years. There's nothing wrong with it. You just have to do it right. Gluing on a neck, bolting on a neck, or doing threaded inserts all take a certain amount of time to do it right. And so whatever your preference is, just do it right. Figure out how to do it and do it well. Does the neck stay on? Great. The player will be happy. The player does not care how the neck stays on. They just want it to stay on. That's it. So it's only us nerds, us builder nerds, get obsessed with like finer details. Like, ooh, it has threaded inserts. Like nobody cares except us about threaded inserts. It's torrified. The client just looking at you like, well, what's that mean? You know, we have this whole lingo and stuff. And it's like, honestly, most people do not know or care. You ain't no nerd. My Canada Day, I didn't celebrate Independence Day. I celebrated Canada Day on the 1st. It was pretty good. I had brisket. You're all a bunch of nerds. Actually, Panic is not a nerd. Panic is a jock like me. We bully the nerds. That's what he's coming here to do. He's looking for some nerds to bully. He's got his polo shirt. Let me tell you something. You're a buff nerd. Panic, do you ever pop that collar on that Hank Bud polo shirt you got? I can just imagine. Just pop that collar, man. Where are you punk nerds at? Yeah. Just because I'm a nerd doesn't mean I'm not a bro. I wouldn't say I'm a jock, but I definitely probably fall into the bro category. But I roll with the nerds. I roll with the nerds. I can show you a timeline. I can show you a timeline of my teen years. Of when I decided to just like work out and be a bro. But still underneath I was a nerd. But I just got a different haircut, started working out, wore different clothes. But deep down, still me. I just didn't look like I played Dungeons and Dragons anymore. Protein shake. You got your pre-workout, bro? You just closed the tab where you wanted to purchase Shin Megami Tensei merch. Nerds, man. Nerds. Let me show you a before and after. I'll show you guys a before and after. Let me see if I can find it. I'll do a before and after. Let me show you. Let me show you young teen Hank. I think I have it on. I'll show you guys. Then you'll understand. Let's see if I have it. Here we go. Okay, so here's me. I think I'm like 14 here. And there's Nerd Hank. There's Nerd Hank. Yeah, that's me. I still had the beginnings of the beard. Yeah. The beard is just starting. It was just starting at that time. You can't see it, but I had a shirt on that has a dragon on it and everything. Anyway, I'll show you the progression. I'll see if I think I might have a picture. It's going through a phase, yeah. And then I'll show you Bro Hank at 18. Give me a second. Here we go. Okay, so I'll have this one ready to go. Okay, and then I was like, look, I got to get this. Look, man, everybody changes. Okay, so that's me at like 15. And then I was like, I really want a girlfriend. I got to get this under control. And then here's Hank at 18. I got down to work, let me tell you. So there's the transformation. Still me. Yeah. So yeah. Just work out, just lift, bro. So that was the transformation from, but it was still me. I still played Dungeons and Dragons and read comic books and stuff. I just didn't look like I did as much. So, yeah. And then, you know, I slowly age into, now look at me. Now I'm, in my late 20s, I was burly. I'm not going to lie, in my late 20s. So like that progression, it goes like nerdy Hank, teenage Hank, and then bro Hank. Then bro Hank liked to party and drink, and then chubby drinking Hank, party Hank didn't look so good. And then I had to get fit again. So I have these phases where I'm like doing a good and then not so good, and then I start working out and eating right. In my late 20s, I started gaining weight. My metabolism changed. I was drinking a lot of beer, eating out a lot. I just wasn't eating well. And I had to get that under control. This is my prime. Yeah, D&D and comic books are great. They are. It was just, I really wanted a girlfriend. And I was like, D&D, long-haired Hank. This guy thought he looked like a Viking. I was like, I got long hair because I'm a Viking. You know? And it's like, no, nobody thinks you look like a Viking. I was listening to a lot of black metal at this time as well. Like, this is the weird, I was wearing a lot of black. Everybody thought I was going to shoot up the school. Honestly, like that's who they thought I was. It was just like that was. I'm 39 now. Hank Buttage. Not in the early 2000s, Tari. There was no cute gamer girls in the late 90s and early 2000s. There was not. There was no cute gamer girls. There was no cute nerd girls. There was just the bros and the nerds. Why did you grow your long hair, Tari? You're 31? Nice. Yeah. You remember. You remember the era. So that was the thing. It was like, it sucks. It sucks to be like everybody judges you by appearance and stuff like that. It's not like I totally sold out. I was just kind of like, do my best impression of a Southern accent. Nice. Look like George and John from the Abbey Road cover. Yeah, it's, I haven't had long hair since then. That was the last time I had long hair. My best impression, I don't know if I can do I can't talk like Frugal. You mean talk like Spike? Talk like Spike? 35 times 2. Don't worry. Frugal, Spike and Babumstead are esteemed elders. Esteemed elders in the community, and it's nice actually. We got a good age range. Like it's like Spike, Babumstead are the esteemed elders. Rage, Orbiter, Manny are the Gen Xers. Me, Jer, Joe, Asus are the millennials. Or is Asus a Zoomer? Asus is in his 20s, isn't he? He's the youngin'. Jer is about my age as well. Orbiter is a Gen Xer, so's Manny, so's Rage. So we got multi-generational. We're a multi-generational group. Oh man, that totally sounds like a nerd, Tari. You found a nerd girlfriend on the internet. Good for you. Say, baby, lock the door down and turn the lights down low. I say, baby, lock the door down, turn them lights down low. That's as best as I could do. Gatalogic is good at any age. You're aging like fine wine. He's close. Manny's late 50s. But I think Manny would fall into he's an older Gen Xer. I don't think Manny would be considered, is Manny a boomer or is he an older Gen Xer? I thought he was born in the 60s. Is he born in the 50s? I could be wrong. I thought Manny was an older Gen Xer. I don't know how they work. Gen X there. I would slay out here. I'll just drop the Canadian accent. Forget it. This Canadian accent does nothing for me. It's not exotic or interesting to anyone. I don't think with guitar making the age doesn't really matter. I like that our group has a bunch of different individuals, different places in the world, different ages. That means it's a good group. It means it's a good group when you have a bunch of people from different walks of life, different backgrounds, who are we can all relate on guitars, you know. So it doesn't really matter. I think it's a good sign. You don't get along with people that ain't at least bit nerdy in some way. Well, you got to have interests. You got to have interests. Gen Xer. Yeah, if you want some serious southern accent, you go to Spike. Frugal Fixer right here. He will serve it up with grits and everything. He'll give you the pure southern accent that characters in movies talk like. No offense. In the same way that some people find me to be stereotypically Canadian, Spike is stereotypically, I guess, would be considered Southerner. Born in 58. Old. I think that makes you a boomer. Frugal, I hate to break it to you, you're a boomer. But it's okay, my dad is a boomer too. Yeah, all accents are amazing outside. Yeah, if I went to Australia, everybody would find it exotic and interesting. Who's president? Nixon. Okay. Who's president? Nixon. So 60s. Old hippie. Yeah. I always find I'm a little bit on the older. I'm still considered a millennial, but I'm like at the cutoff. So a lot of my experience is also kind of I could be a young Gen Xer. A lot of my influence came from the Gen X rather than the millennial, but I kind of understand both. I can roll with anyone. But that's the thing. I was talking about it before. Is that the thing with guitar building is one of the reasons you see older people building guitars is because it's kind of expensive. It's an expensive hobby. You need resources. You need a shop. You need tools. And a lot of younger guys in this day and age do not have the resources to build guitars. You can acquire those resources, but it can be pretty expensive, and especially in urban areas now, especially densely urban areas, you don't have much space. You can do it, but it's definitely it's something that you can do in your 20s, and then you can really start taking seriously in your 30s and 40s. Most luthiers of renown usually don't make it until their 40s. They don't start making it until their 40s. And they usually don't do well until their 50s and stuff, because it's like acquiring the resources and the knowledge to be able to do it. It's a lifetime. It can take a lifetime. So it's not uncommon. And that's why you see it's mostly older people. Who was president when you read Archie comics? Reagan. Bush Sr. Reagan was president. Your accent didn't go over well in California there, Spike. How old am I? I'm 39. Yeah. First guitar at 63, but lifetime maker. Yeah. Well, now's a good time as any to get into it. That's for sure. Real builds are coming. Yeah, it's anytime. I'm not saying anybody, like, that's the thing. If you have like somebody like Spike who knows how to build things, he can figure it out a lot faster than somebody who's never used a power tool before. If you have basic woodworking skills, you can build an electric guitar, guaranteed. If you know how to use a router and a bandsaw, you can build a guitar. So don't let be like, well, it'll take me 20 years to get good at it. It's like, not necessarily. It's just usually it takes so long. People like Manny Bumstead were building in their spare time. Manny has been building guitars for 15 years in his spare time. But it's only till now that he's like going full time in it. And a lot of people don't have time until they retire to go full on into the guitar building. So it's kind of, there's no one path to do it. So I don't want to be discouraging to anyone. And that's why, again, I like it. There's all these different, we have a lot of different people in our group from different backgrounds. All just being like, I'm going to do this thing, you know? You have 5 started. Of course you do. And then it'll be 10 started by the end of the week. Yeah, I think there's a tendency, Tari, to always look back to the previous generation and stuff. I don't know. It's like I romanticize the past. I always look back on the past, which probably isn't a good thing. But a lot of the books I read were all old. I used to read lots of old science fiction and fantasy. I really didn't read anything beyond 1970. It was all like classic sci-fi fantasy stuff. So it's like, for me, I was always looking back. I wasn't really into a lot of modern, except video games and comic books. That's what I was modern. Grunge or Shaggy. 300 will do it. First one. Yeah. I started building my own necks right away, Burger Fist. I started off doing ukuleles, and then I started carving. I actually started with necks, Burger Fist. I was carving necks for Meredith and Will for some guitars here in the shop. So before I even built my own electrics, I had already carved dozens of necks for electric guitars. So I started on the neck, which is a weird thing to start on, but I also did clarinets for 6 years. So I had a lot of experience with musical instrument making, even though it's like a weird leap from clarinets to guitars, but I did it. Yes, yeah, Willie, exactly. Everybody's different resources, different skill sets, and all that matters is results. Do you have a guitar at the end of the day that works? Well, then success. It doesn't matter how you got there. The important thing is you got there, you know? Yeah, you can get a kit neck doing a body. You can do a body, and you can get necks off of Amazon or Alibaba that are good necks. Very similar to this. You can get a maple neck with, you can get one with a rosewood fingerboard for like $80. If you don't have the tools to make a neck. The neck is the hard part, but you can definitely be making bodies with just a router. You'll show me the 300 list. Show people how to do things cheap, or rather frugal. Recycle lumber, broken guitar parts, learn cheap, develop skills. That's what I was talking to Gopher about earlier. Gopher was saying he uses reclaimed lumber. You don't need to buy the fancy tops. In fact, don't when you're learning. Do not. I know you love Terry Pratchett. I understand that. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I didn't know that it had affected you that bad. Yeah, Terry Pratchett was very prolific. I've read some of his stuff. I wasn't into him as much as you were, obviously, but I did appreciate his humor. The K-Mize necks? Good to know. Yeah. Yeah, making your own jigs is a big part of it. Making your own jigs. Like Spike made his own sled for doing his doing the one route body, which is amazing. The Guns and Guitars guy has a video. You don't need much. No, you don't. I've seen people do challenges where they try and build a guitar for like, $150 or something like that. And it's totally doable. And I think that's really good. For me, I salvage some, but due to the nature, because I'm getting commissions now and stuff like that, I'm how would it be? It's like, oh no, it's kind of, I can still make a guitar with local woods that's still considered premium for a very good price point, is how I can put it. Because I'm in British Columbia, Canada, I can get lots of maple locally. So none of my stuff is imported. Occasionally I'll import something, but I can do a lot of my stuff with local woods, which is really, really good. But I'm in a unique position right now. Like I'm making a go of it as a guitar builder, as a professional guitar builder. And so I've been doing a lot of premium builds, like high-end builds, basically to get attention, to sell them. And I think people appreciate if you can build a guitar out of like salvage materials, inexpensive. I think that's like a really good way to learn. And there are people who are like, that's what I want. For me, I'm trying to kind of establish myself as a boutique, a high-end boutique builder. It's kind of like, that's what this one, which sold right away because it's so pretty. This one achieved its goal, but I would not recommend you buying these materials until you're confident. That's why learning on salvage wood, inexpensive hardware is really important. So when I was working on this was really expensive to build. This guitar was like $1,500. I'll just level with you guys. It was about $1,500 worth of materials in this thing. That's really scary when you could screw something up, right? So when you're working with high-end materials, you want to have your process dialed in. You don't want that router to slip. You don't want anything to go wrong. So with this guitar, I did nothing that I hadn't already done. And I had honed, yeah, it is scary. I had honed my skills on wood that was given to me. A lot of people, here's another thing that will happen to you. This will happen. People will give you wood They will give you wood. If you can make a guitar, they'll be like, that's so cool. Would you like this wood? I've been holding on to it, but it would be really cool if somebody could make a really nice instrument out of it. And so when I started building guitars, people gave me a lot of really nice wood to work with, which really helped. And stuff, because people were just like, cool, I want to see you build something nice, right? And stuff like that. So opportunities kind of come out when you kind of start and you start doing things. People kind of get excited and kind of want to help you out. So by the time I got to this build, there was nothing new. I did nothing that I hadn't done multiple times before. So even though I was a little nervous working with these materials, I had never worked with these materials before, I was confident that I could do a good guitar. So, and that's what the point of this one was. And it sold right away, so success. And I got a ton of attention from this guitar. I got lots of people checking out my stuff. Like, this was just a gamble, like Hail Mary, long shot, like I need to do something. And it worked. And it totally, I'm not completely set, but it did what I wanted it to do. So that was good. And now I can kind of, I just got a commission today for something, because a guy saw that guitar and he's like, that's a beautiful guitar. Can you make one for me? And I'm like, I can. It's not going to be cheap, but I can. And he's like, let's talk. So it's kind of like, but I can also do an inexpensive guitar. I can do an inexpensive guitar. I like to be able to do both, that I can roll with the big dogs, but I can also do something with scrap wood, Actually, Chevy, the Chevy guy's Muracaster, the Muracaster was made with scrap wood. The top to the Muracaster was all scrap wood. So it's like, I just happened to have Padauk and rosewood lying around. I think you should just read it, Tari. I think you should just do it, Tari. You're building it up. Just read it. Enjoy it. Enjoy his book. Tari, I think you should read that Pratchett's book and just really enjoy it. Like, really read it. Like, just how enjoy reading it, and just be conscious of yourself reading it and enjoying it, because it's the last one. So really, really pull it in, That's what I would do. Yeah. Oh yeah, tear outs. Like, I could not afford a tear out on that thing. You're putting a battery box in a dugout acoustic. Doesn't need one, but the router. Yeah, so many things can go wrong. So one of the things that was happening with me when I was routing out that Padauk body, I was getting a lot of chip out, because that Padauk is really dense. And I was really scared of hairline cracks when I was flush cutting the end. And so I actually sanded that body into shape rather than flush cutting it, because I just didn't want tear out. And so I just took it to a spindle sander, put a new roll on the spindle sander, and shaped it by hand rather than flush cutting it. And it was safer, and it was the right move, because I just couldn't take any chances, Yeah. Ooh, an audiobook. Does Pratchett, did he get a chance to read that book as an audiobook? Because that would be amazing. The Muracaster is priceless. Chevy, you have no idea how much I'm selling Muracasters for now. I'm waiting. Chevy, I posted a bunch of Muracasters on the 4th of July. We'll see if I ever get a Muracaster. I was surprised. I didn't get any Muracaster orders. Someday I'll get a Muracaster order. Someday. Yeah. Yeah. You should just read it then, Tari. Just read it. Just read it. Read it and enjoy it. But this guitar, I am making the body out of an old table. So it's like I went from that guitar, which was like super fancy, high-end hardware, high-end everything, to this guitar, which Rage gave me the neck blank for this one. So thank you, Rage. Rich Light gave me the fingerboard. So Rich Light gave us boxes of free fingerboards. Like, this is what I mean. It's like, just sometimes people just give you stuff. Hey, XD Smokey, thank you for that follow. An Ameribase. Yes, Chevy. It does need Ameribase. Good idea. Maybe that'll be the next one. Anyway, so this guitar, all the wood is salvage table, fingerboard given to me, neck given to me. Meredith gave me the P90s for it. Oh wait, sorry, no wait, this is not getting the P90s. I'm salvaging a student, Geo, one of the students, cut his plates and left the rest. So I'm salvaging this from Geo's build for the pick guard. And then I think I might have to get some pickups. And I'm probably going to have to get some tuners. So the hardware I'm going to have to buy, but none of the wood I bought on this one. So it's just a fun project. I'm going to paint this one, so I'll have to buy the paint for that. Things like that. So it's kind of like, it's subsidized. It's not completely paid for. So it's kind of like, it's just mostly my labor. I'll probably have to put $300 into this build is what I'm looking at. And that's pretty good. Most high-end builds, you'll be looking at about $600 to $800. That includes high-end Seymour Duncan pickups. You don't have to do that, but I'm just saying to price out, like, let's say you want to do a high-end build with some Godot tuners, a Godot bridge or Hipshot bridge, a fancy top, Seymour Duncan hand-wound pickups. You're looking at like $800. But if you can do a guitar for under $300, that's pretty good. You can do it for cheaper, but sometimes cheaping out on tuners, you'll have to replace them anyway in the future. So it's like, if you're just learning and you're just putting out guitars, like, use whatever you have on hand. But that's another reason that makes it kind of an expensive hobby. So if you can sell, when you're starting out, sell your guitars at least at cost to like friends and family who want to support you, that's great, because at least it's not costing you money. And if you can make a little bit of profit, that's great. That's a good way for the hobby to pay for itself. If you can make that guitar for under $500 and then sell it for like $500 or $800, that's pretty good, you know? Make me some leather pants this time. Okay. Nobody ever sees the back anyway. Chevy, by the end of it, I'm going to be decked out. Chevy's just going to have me decked out in Chevy swag. Leather chaps, leather vest, leather armbands. What else? All leather. A leather cowboy hat. Oh, I didn't know that. I'm not too familiar with British television. I'll have to check it out. If you recommend something, I might check it out. They butchered everything. They usually do that. You know. They always butcher it. They never get the point. Nobody ever gets the point. The cheaper stuff is okay. Yeah, like, honestly, Wilkinson makes some good, inexpensive tuners. So you can go the cheapo Music Lily stuff, and that stuff is fine. You can do the kind of mid-range stuff, the Wilkinson, and that stuff is good. And the high-end stuff, honestly, you can tell a difference with the high-end stuff. You can. It doesn't mean the lower-end stuff doesn't work, but that stuff is priced for a reason. And when you get like commission for a boutique guitar, people kind of expect the best. They want the best tuners. They're very brand oriented. So like I'm talking from a different, like for me, I'm in the boutique custom guitar world now. And so it's a luxury item, you know? And so there's certain expectations as far as materials you use. But I'm not saying that anybody has to use that stuff, you know, to build guitars. You really don't. But there's a perception you do. Nice, Indiana Hank. I do need a whip. And then I can have a redemption on the channel. Hogfather going postal. Did the BBC produce it? Or was it Channel 4? Hipshot. I really like Hipshot. I used Hipshot on this one. I really like the Hipshot. Let me show you my favorite tuners. And these things feel really good. They retail for maybe 80 to $100, but they're really good. My favorite are the locking open back. I just love the look of them. You can see the gear in there, and they just look classy. You can put these on any guitar, and they look good. And so I really like those. Locking tuners make it easier to string. It's just like an added thing. So you spend $50 more and you get these things. Those are my favorite. I put them on a lot of stuff. These are Wilkinson inline tuners. These ones retail. You can get these for about 35 US, which is really good. These are good tuners for 35 bucks. Wilkinson is the budget brand of Godot. The only thing that makes these budget is the materials used. Godot uses higher quality metals. That's the difference. That's why Wilkinson is cheaper. But they're still machined very well. I believe they're made in Korea. They're not made in Japan. Godot is made in Japan with higher quality materials. These are made, still very high quality, made in Korea with cheaper materials. So cheaper labor costs, cheaper materials, but still good machining. These ones are the Fender vintage. Fender stuff usually is overpriced. I would avoid Fender unless you have a client who says, I want all Fender hardware and is willing to pay for it. The Fender tuners usually go for like $100, and they're just the vintage style inline tuners. And it's like, well, I can get Godots for that same price. But sometimes people want all Fender. The Fender stuff is overpriced on purpose so that nobody can build cheap Fenders. That's my theory. And they know people will pay for it. Yeah. Yeah, no need to break the bank. If you're just making for fun or to learn, I even recommend don't use high-end materials because you're just going to, what will happen, this is what will happen if on your first build you use Godo tuners and Seymour Duncans. On your second build or third build, you're going to strip that hardware off of that your first guitar and put it into that one, and your first guitar is going to be unplayable and just sitting there with no hardware in it. So, and that's a very sad thing. So don't put the nice hardware. You'll just pull it out and put it into a different build. That's usually what happens. These are Godo vintage style. So these are Godo tuners, but they look exactly like the Kluson style Fender tuners, but they're actually locking tuners. And they have a little, you see at the top there, you see that thing right there? You can take a penny or something or a screwdriver, and that's what you lock them with. It's a little bit weird. They're a little confusing, but those are locking tuners. So you can still get that vintage look with locking tuners if you want. This one's going to Saskatchewan. I'm trading this guitar for some land in Saskatchewan. This guitar is getting me a small plot of land in Saskatchewan, which is an excellent trade for this guitar. So this guitar is leaving at the end of the month to Saskatchewan. I thought it was going to Texas, but looks like it's going to Saskatchewan. Yeah, don't worry. I can always build another one if anybody does need one. You didn't win the lottery fast enough. You have a friend who wants a custom bass. Told him, yeah, he was overwhelmed. People do get overwhelmed with the choices. They have little balls under the screws. Let me see. I don't exactly know how these things work. I think so. Yeah. I think they tighten as you turn it. I'm not 100% sure. I can't remember how these things work, but they are the Godo locking tuners. They're a little confusing, but they do work. But that's the thing. So if you have a friend who wants to commission a guitar, first thing, ask him what his budget is. And then go from there and be like, okay, this is what I can do with that. And just kind of go from there. And just kind of explain the different hardware options. If they want the fancier hardware, they're going to have to pay for it. But you can still get good hardware at an inexpensive price. You don't have to get the cheap hardware, but you can still get, like I said, if they can't afford Godo, you can get Wilkinson. You can still get them branded stuff that's like good quality. I think these are all Fender. So here's the funny thing. These are all Fender tuners. The reason that these were cheap because they're relict. And for some reason on Amazon, you can get cheap relict Fender for like 30, 40 bucks. So if you're ever doing relic builds, these are cheaper. Godo does a relic as well that are about like 100 bucks. And these ones are like 40. So I usually go with the Fender and they're fine. That's the only time I buy Fender. That's the only time I buy Fender is my relic tuners. And your mission is to make it playable, yeah. If you screw out the little ball fall, be careful. Okay. Yeah, I'm not familiar with those things at all. That was the first time I ever came in contact with them, and honestly, at Meredith, I was like, I don't know how this thing works. And then she was like, oh, it works like this. And then she ended up doing it, and I watched her do it, but I didn't really pay attention too hard. She just did it. and I didn't learn anything. I'm going to have to watch a video now. I learned nothing. That's what I was talking to Will about that. We all rely pretty heavily on Meredith here in the shop. And she's going to be leaving in January. Where's my 120? So yeah, Meredith is going to be leaving in January. So she's trying to wrap up her stuff. I'm trying to get my stuff going. That's why I'm doing kind of crazy stuff right now. That's why I did that guitar, and why I'm going all in, and I'm doing like really like these two guitars that I have up there. Why I've been going all out on some of my builds, doing really premium stuff, high-end stuff, because I just don't have time to mess around, and I need to get things going on my end, because Meredith is going to be gone soon, and we're going to be on our own here. So I have to kind of sink or swim at this point. I got 6 months to get my act together and to get a sustainable guitar company going. At least something that can sustain at least part-time. But a lot of what I do behind the scenes, I'm doing a lot of work for Coloma Guitars, which is Meredith's brand, and stuff like that. So it's kind of like, I teach classes with her. A lot of what I do, like half of what I do, is working for Meredith. So it's kind of like I gotta get Hank Budd Guitars running. So I got 6 months. The shop isn't going anywhere, but if I can't sustain myself in the shop, then I can't really do it. So it's kind of sink or swim this fall. So I'm going swim. You only drown when you stop swimming. That's my saying. I learned that when I almost drowned once. You only drown when you stop swimming. They crimping the string. Oh, you lost one. Okay, good to know. Good tip there, Spike. Thank you. I will make sure it does not fall out. Yeah, insert master sanding montage. Yeah, no pressure, but I gotta, yeah, I've been under a little bit of pressure, and you only drown one time. There's no coming back from that. So, yeah, it's kind of an interesting time right now, and that's why I've been working so hard and pumping out so many guitars. That's why it's I gotta. Like, you know what the alternative is? It's not even that bad. I just have to get a regular job, you know? So it's like there is a lot of pressure because I've invested so much time into guitar building and the stream and all this stuff that I really don't want to. I feel like I have really good momentum right now, and it would really suck to have to put it on hold. Or do it part-time. But if I have to, I have to. Everybody else does, you know, like it's not like, oh, I can't do that. Like, still need a leather pickguard. I do need a leather pickguard. I'll send you a mold, Chevy guy. I'm actually doing a pickguard on this guitar. So I'll cut out a second pick guard that somebody could wrap in leather or use it as like a leather template. Anyway, worst comes to worst, I'll just be grouting somebody's bathroom for a living. That's not so bad. The thing with me is I've just done so many jobs like that, so many random jobs, like different sort of trades and stuff, that it's like, I'm just kind of like, no, I need to make a go of my own thing. Like, I can always get a job as a contractor. Like, I can always do carpentry, do contracting work. People always need things fixed. They always need things installed, cabinets. There's always going to be cabinets that need to be made. So like, that's the worst case scenario, is I end up making cabinets, which is not a bad living, but everyone I know who makes cabinets for a living are just like, if I have to make one more cabinet, so it's kind of, and they all want to be making custom furniture, right? All the custom contractors I know are all like, man, I really need to get my custom furniture company running, And so it's kind of like, I got a good thing going, and I need to see where it goes till the end. I need to see this thing through. I need to get a guitar company up and running. But it's not a vague, when you have a timeline like that. Yeah, I need to get his button gear so he can buy a ton of leather things. Yeah. Well, that's the thing, is I would really like if somebody saw like a leather pick guard, it's like, oh, I can outsource that to Chevy, or, things like that. It would be really nice to outsource to other makers and things like that. Would be really cool. That's why I'm so down with doing these kind of like collaborations. It's same with the wood burning collaboration with Karen. It's like, I don't do wood burning, but I know someone who does, and I've worked with them before. I can make a guitar, I can send it to them. They burn the image you want. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. So there's a lot that can be done, There's a lot of potential. I think that's the thing of one of the reasons why I'm really hopeful for what we're doing, because there's just so much potential, and it's like there's so many opportunities and there's so many things that I can make and do. Like, it's not even really about money. Yeah, there she is. If anybody needs a guitar burnt, they know who to go to. The bottom line is, I've been free for too long. It's been 4 years now since I quit my job. In 2018, I quit my job as a cobbler, and I haven't had I've had jobs and stuff, but I've pretty much just been hustling for the last 4 years. Just doing different random things here in the shop. Sometimes working for Meredith, sometimes getting commissioned for other things, fabricating custom wood parts for different people and things like that. I've been doing a lot of different things to survive, but I made that concerted effort. Not that I suggest anyone just quit their job for no reason and just be like, I'm going to make it. It wasn't that. It's like I quit my job and I didn't know what I was going to do. And so I went back home to Saskatchewan. I always end up back in Saskatchewan, and where I figure things out. In the film version of my life, there'll always be like a montage in Saskatchewan that will that where I figure it out, and I'm going back in August, so maybe I'll figure out the next phase. But I really like building guitars. The reason I want to keep building guitars is I really like building guitars. It utilizes a lot of my skill sets, and I think I don't want to knock doing, like, I've done my share of manual labor. I don't look down on manual labor, I've done my share. I've done my share of manual labor. I can always do manual labor. But the thing that always is, I never looked at it like I'm too good for this job. Like it's beneath me. There's no job that's beneath you when you need to pay rent, kind of thing. As far as physical labor, I'm talking about physical labor, by the way. You pay your rent your own way. Anyway, I don't want to sound like I'm disparaging it, but it's really nice when you have work that utilizes your skill sets. That's what is fulfilling about it. And that's why I like guitar building, and that's why I don't want to stop. That's why I got to figure out how to make it work. You know what I mean? It's going to be a matte black guitar, Raj. Is that your guitar? It's going to be matte black, but it's not going to be gold. It's going to have a red pickguard on it. But it will be black. Yeah. Karen's job is looking really good. Part-time. Hey, are you guys ready for... I won't even tell you my stripper name. Hank Butt? Hank Butt is my stripper name. Yeah, you guys learn the truth. I gotta pay rent. I gotta pay for my my guitar parts somehow. Don't judge me. Yeah. Look, man. You don't know what it's like out here. It's expensive out here. I can work a room. That's why I always defend the hot tub streamers. I'm always like, come on, guys, they're just trying to make a living. There's nothing wrong with what they're doing. Come on, guys, it's not that bad. It's real work. I'm an artist, and I gotta dance. Which body shape do you like? A pink Strat there, or a black Strat, or the Freya, Raj? What do you prefer, the Freya or the Roya? I got a guy came in today asking about commissioning a big river for his 30th birthday. He really liked my guitar. And he wanted a Telly style guitar, so he's got a Freya. He's actually commissioning 2 Freyas, or he bought a Freya, he's commissioning one. So that's nice. The Freya, you want the Freya because it's pointy, right? On the stage and in the workshop. Freya, yeah. There's multiple ways to spell it, but that's how we spell it. They would have got you, those hot tub streamers. Well, you just wait, Gadalogic. I'll do a hot tub stream, and I'm going to have a simp count for everyone who subscribes. Look here. You guys want my guitar company to be a success, don't you? Well, the only way I can raise the money for my guitar company is to hot tub stream. So you guys better start subscribing to my hot tub streams, because I need to raise money for my own shop. You know? Like, it's not about, it's not like I'm blowing it on drugs and partying, you know? Yeah, I'm hustling here. Look at that valute, everybody. See? Look at that valute. It's not done yet. It still needs to be crisper. Work hard for my money. Yeah. You guys, it's tough out there. It's tough all over, you know? Oh. I'm also going to, at some point, I'm going to have to get, I do know some models. Both male and female models. And we have a boat. One of them has a boat. So at some point, I am going to have to do a sailing stream with everybody in Hank Bud attire, hot burl swimsuits, sanding underwear, the whole shebang. Hank Bud is a brand. Your last volute looked like a lump. It has to. I was just talking to Alex about his volute. And what the point of a volute is to define the shape of it. It's still lumpy. You can see I'm still working it in. But that's the basic shape, and that's where it goes. I can actually bring it in a little bit. I'll bring it in just a little bit. Yeah. Sanding support underwear. Didn't you see my merch? Chevy, have you seen my merch section yet? If you haven't seen my merch, I highly recommend everyone check out my merch. It is the best. I have the best merch on Twitch. I got the best merch on Twitch, man. Sanding support underwear. I'm wearing some right now, but you can't see because I'm wearing my apron. Of course I'm wearing some right now. I'm sanding, aren't I? Anyway. It's not just a guitar company. Like I've said multiple times, Hank Bud is a lifestyle brand. We sell life accessories. Lifestyle accessories. I read a interesting quote the other day. It's still not as good as the OG Hank merch. Yeah, nothing comes between me and my Hank buds. Which one was this? My apron works harder than I do. I need something strong and resilient. That's why I get Kinval Custom brand aprons for all my daily work, and I work hard. Kinval Customs. Get your leather work there. That is a good endorsement. I don't remember half the things I say on stream. Is that what I sound like? I honestly don't remember half the things I say. Sometimes I watch a video afterwards. I'm like, aha, that's funny. You're funny, Hank. This is 4 hours of delirium. I'm just going to have to accept that there's a spot right there that's so annoying. But I'm just going to have to accept it. It is what it is. Just is what it is. It's not going away. I wonder if I could bleach it. Yeah, it's funny. It's like if I can just use that salesmanship for my own guitars and my own products, I can shill someone else's products, but it's a lot harder to shill your own stuff. You know? They want the guitar already. That's what you have to tell yourself. They already want the guitar. Yeah. You're going to ask about... I don't know what I'm going to do about that spot. I don't think there's anything I can do about that spot. There's nothing I can do. Nothing. It's just a spot. It just looks so bad. It's a birthmark. I remember you clipping something one time, Gadalogic. You clipped... Oh yeah, I think it was something about an energy drink or something like that. I can't really remember, but it's like, I think you posted on my Twitter. It is a birthmark, but it's a bad mark. I guess it just, if it was on the bottom, I wouldn't care, but that's right where you hold the guitar, and from photos and stuff, it'll just look like there's a stain on it. Yes, Yeah, cucumber energy drink that they have 10 times the power of cocaine. Yeah, I remember that, but only because you clipped it. Yeah, my cucumber water. I was going to be a cucumber water salesman. Well, that's the thing. I do pretty long streams where I'm just talking smack the whole time. And people are saying things and I'm saying things. Everybody's just talking smack. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Well, that's the thing. It's like, I think that's the nature of one of the things that's appealing about streaming is that a lot of the time nothing really does happen. You hang out with your friends, you say a few things. There's interesting stuff going on. But then every once in a while, there's just a little bit of magic where something happens that's like spontaneous and funny. It doesn't happen every stream. But, you know, every once in a while, you just get on a roll. And the chat is saying things. You're riffing off of that. And everybody's just kind of riffing off each other. And it's a good roll. But you can't engineer that. It's just like every once in a while, like every few weeks, months, there'll just be a really good roll. A really good, you know, kind of happening. Everyone's fired up. I'm doing something. And that's, I don't know, that's just the nature of like streaming. And I think that that's one of the things, whether it's like watching makers or gaming, you just kind of want to be there if something happens to be like, oh, I can't believe that happened, you know? Or they, you know, somebody actually pulls off something actually funny, which is actually rare. It's not easy. You can't engineer funny. It just happens. It happens that some things are funny sometimes. That's why it would be weird. This crew wants P90s, yeah. Yeah. Well, it's kind of funny, the trends. We went with P90s initially just because they were different than most, like for the Freyas. We leaned heavily into, they just fit with the Freyas really well. Sound wise, with the whole design, it all just worked. And then I blame Tari Sue pushing the P90s all the time. But it did... You can see that there's a lot of... I don't know what the word would be. Influence. And okay, here, let me put on some workout music for you, Karen. Give me a second, Karen. I got some workout. I got some workout video music for you. Oh, I'm getting raided. Who's raiding me? Bithlord. What's going on? Welcome, Raiders. I was just about to put on some workout music for Karen. Karen's about to work out. Bithlord, thank you for that raid. What were you doing today? It's going good. I was just carving a valute. I'm just carving. I'm just doing the final carve on this neck. And just getting that valute really nice. And yeah, that's about what I'm doing. I've just been working on this neck, talking a lot of smack, especially to Gatalogic. It's what we do. I was going to play a workout song. A workout song for there we go. Anyway, for all those just joining, music stream here. I'll just put this on in the background for you. It's called More Energy. There you go. Okay, that can go on for a very long time. Anyway, More Energy by Arnold. More Energy. That's what I just imagine. Whenever I imagine Karen working out, that's the song, that's the soundtrack montage. It's More Energy. More energy. But I'm just going to carve a neck. So Your energy is over 9,000. Do you know how much Karen can power lift? She can lift both me and Tarisu over her head. No problem. So Raiders who just joined, I'm a guitar builder. I'll show you my last build. If you haven't seen my work before, this is my last guitar I built. This is a showpiece one. Sorry, Chevy. Somebody bought this one. You lost your chance. You had your chance, Chevy. This one is also red, white, and blue. And you didn't jump on that one. Anyway, that's Buckeye Burl with Paduke body and a maple neck. So that's my showpiece one. Sorry, Chevy. Chevy already has a guitar. Why do you need more guitars? More guitars, Chevy. Chevy has a museum. One day Chevy is going to have the Makers and Crafting Museum in Nebraska. So someday in the future, you will all be traveling to Nebraska to view the Makers and Crafting Museum, and it'll be the Chevy Guy collection. And Chevy has an item from every single maker in the crafting section. I heard you've commissioned a Babe Ross painting as well. I was on her stream and she was saying that you're one of her commissions. Obi-Wan, is she doing an Obi-Wan painting for you? You don't have an addiction. You have a propensity for fine goods, a predilection for handcrafted goods and fine quality products. Space Jesus is coming. Nice. That's a fine. You'll get a fine painting. Babe Ross does some really nice stuff. She's a leather owner. What did she get from you? Man, why is my table so... We're going to get that fine valute. Now, I'm just going to sand the back of this headstock because I can still see the 80 grit. Sketchbook, that makes perfect sense that she would get a sketchbook. That makes perfect sense. Rage, what's going on? I'm just sanding that. Ooh, that's a nice looking sketchbook there, Chevy. That's really nice. You do real nice work, Chevy. Rage, I'm just working on that neck from the wood you gave me. How's your guitar going, Rage? Nice. Rage puts his family before the guitars. There's something we can all learn from Rage. I have many guitars. Look at all these guitars I have, but I have no children. If I had children, I would exchange all these guitars for children. But alas, I only have guitars. So Rage is Rage is the catalyst. Something went wrong. It wasn't user error. Something went wrong with the 2K that Rage was spraying. And so he had to sand it back and respray it. And which kind of sucks. But it wasn't user error. But there we go. This valute is looking nice. Carved, engraved, or CNC, or wood burned. Like how big, Rock and Raj? How big? Making leather look like wood. Interesting. Oh yeah, that does look nice. The streaking in there. Yeah, I like that. It's a good effect. You're sanding right now. Let's all sand together. Though if you're not sanding, you should be lifting. Karen is lifting right now. So you guys should be either sanding or lifting. Those are the two options right now. You don't have a choice. We build guitars and we lift around here. Rage, how's your lifting regiment going? Was that Black Burst on your Haunted Mansion guitar? Nice. You down pounds this week. Nice. See, Rage is doing it right. Rage is doing it right. But like a wooden piece as well. I've seen people do some cool stuff with like LED light signs. You can get some cool stuff, Raj, that you could plug into your control, and you can do like different. You just need like either transparent or like, there's a lot you can do for sure. I dig your jive. You're down 8 pounds from last Tuesday to this morning. That's crazy. Rage. See, Rage, so it worked out that you wrecked the Hank Bud shirt, because pretty soon you'll need a smaller one anyway. But then you'll get the smaller shirt, and then you'll burst out of it because you'll be lifting so much, you'll just become like the Hulk. And then you'll need a big one again anyway. But I'll just keep making money. Just keep making that sweet merch money. Chevy guy, do you have any merchandise? Do you have a merch store? What kind of Chevy swag? I guess if you want Chevy swag, you just get them to make it. So I sent today, you're going to do a shirt soon? Nice. What kind of shirt? Well, don't tell me. I'll see it when it's done. The guy who bought the Burl guitar, I sent him some stuff today, and I was like, "Are you aware that the merchandise that I've made out of this thing?" And so I had to fill him in on the full story of like Hot Burl Summer, the puzzle, all the things. He was not aware, and he's like, awesome. So he's definitely getting a unique piece. He's stoked. The guy who bought, randomly, just some dude, he saw my TikTok, and he was like, how much? And I gave him a price, and he was like, well, you only live once. Let's do it. So he's down, which is awesome. That kind of trust and enthusiasm for someone you don't even know is very, I guess, very humbling, where you're just like, oh, wow, like maybe I did a good job there, So that's always nice when just a random person just is like, yeah, I want that thing. I think it's real good. So hopefully, if one person likes my guitar, maybe I could find a second person, maybe even a third person. I'm trying to sell right now. Well, like I said, these guitars are starting to disappear. The Outlaw Country is going to Saskatchewan. The Burl one is gone. This one is still. I'm pushing this one pretty hard right now. This one, the Owl. The Owl. I'm hoping somebody jumps on that one pretty soon. I've been getting lots of messages. It's so annoying when people are just like, hey, how much is that guitar? And I tell them, and then they're like, that's a sweet deal. And I'm like, it's available. And then they're like, great. and then I never get a message. I had somebody try and scam me, which was really annoying. Somebody's like, hey, I want that guitar, but I can't pick it up. Can I send a courier to come pick it up? And I was like, yeah, sure. And they're like, great. The courier needs to be insured. Can you cover that? I'll add it on to the price. And it's just like, oh, what a lame scam. So I said no. I said, why? I was like, I made that guitar by hand. Why do you have to try and steal from an honest, hardworking person? Why do you have to live by stealing from others? And then they left the group, and it was like really, really lame. Scammers are really lame. But I've decided, I was thinking about that interaction because we all get hit by scammers quite a bit now. I'm sure all of you guys are getting phone scams. I get phone scams every week. I get scams. Somebody just, like, I posted my guitar and they're like, oh yeah, and tried to scam me just because I'm trying to sell a guitar, right? Anyway, this is what you do. This is what I'm going to start doing. If it's an actual human, which it is, it's probably somebody in like somewhere else. But what I'm going to start doing is just telling them that they're better than this, rather than telling them, swearing at them, saying that they will be answer for their crimes someday. Usually I would do that. I always like to be like, one day you'll be judged for your many crimes. Yeah, when the scammers come. So, but here's my new routine. I used to do this when I'd get scammer calls at my work because I had nothing to do. And I would just be like, try and convince them that their life trajectory is like really bad, right? Yeah. Yeah, that's the kind of scam. Anyway, my new angle is like, I'll just be like, hey man, you're better than this. You shouldn't be living like this. This is no way for you to live. You're better than this. I know you've had a hard life and you think this is the only way to get by, but you're wrong because you're better. You're a better person than what you're doing right now. And I'm a human being too. And I recognize you as a human being. And I think you can do better, and I believe in you, and maybe you just need to hear that. That's how I'm going to start answering those scammers. And I like to imagine that it'll get through to one of them someday, and they'll be like, Hank's right. And they pull off the headphones and storm out of the scammer building filled with all the people in front of the computers. And they're just like, and then they go on and live a wonderful, productive, honest life after that. That's what I dream. So anyway, that's what I suggest everybody start doing with the scammers. Don't get mad at them. Don't tell them to F off. Just be like, hey man, you're better than this. You're better than this. You know? Yeah. This is a moment you do something that you'll be happy you did in the morning. It's like, walk away, man. Just walk away. No good is going to come from your life doing this. Even if you get the money, nothing good will come from it. You're better than this. Just keep telling them that they're better than this and that you understand that they've had a hard life, but they can do better, and you believe in them. That's how you should treat a scammer. Not with contempt, but with hope. Anyway, that's what I've decided to do. You don't have to, but if we all did that, I'm just saying, if the whole world collectively, imagine the scammer all day, instead of having people telling him to F off or hanging up on them, every single person they heard or got a message from or whatever was like, look man, you can do so much better, like just positive reinforcement. Imagine that, like 100 people in the day are like, look man, I know you're trying to steal from me, but no, you're better than this. You don't have to do this, you know? That would change things. Telling them to F off does nothing. Believe in them. That'll change. That'll change the world. Yeah. Get up and do something now. Just walk out, man. Just walk away. you have a higher purpose, and it's time to put your faith in that, man. Let me play you a song. I'm just saying, if we all did that, the scammers, I guarantee you, if everyone in the world started treating scammers like this, the scamming calls would end. Because eventually everybody would just get to talking. They're like, have you been getting these replies as well that were better than this? And they would have meetings, company meetings in their scammer cartels, and just being like, guys, I'm really questioning what we're doing. Like, maybe we can do better. Maybe we can just do, something else with our time. And then they're like, yeah, maybe. Does anybody have any ideas? And they're like, I have an idea. I was always too afraid to pursue. But, after chatting with this one guitar builder from Canada, I think maybe we should try and implement my idea, my dream. And they're like, okay, let's do it. I believe we can do it. The guy on the phone, Roger, he said I could do it too. Yeah. I believe in you, scammer man. You don't have to live like this no more. Scammer man. Anyway, that was my thought. Take it as you will. But anyway, good news, this guitar was not scammed. So it's still for sale. Let me tell you what spalts my maple, though. Let me tell you what really spalts my maple. Not the scammers, lefties. Let me tell you something about lefties. Whenever you build a guitar and you post it, you get bombarded with messages from left-handed people saying, hey, do you make it in lefty? And then you go, yes, I can make it a left-handed version of this. And they're like, great. They lift up their left thumb. They never buy it. They never commission one, and they never order it. So if left-handed guitar players want to be taken seriously as consumers, maybe they should start buying left-handed guitars. That's all I'm saying. Or learn to play right-handed. Anyway, I'm going to build a left-handed guitar just so I can call out all the left-handed people on my TikTok who keep asking for left-handed guitars but never commission them. Anyway. Sounds quiet. Well, it's, yeah, I haven't plugged it in yet. Do you want to hear what it sounds like? It sounds okay. Actually, it sounds pretty good. Too distorted. Scammer Man. The Scammer Man song. Well, let's put it on clean. I just build the guitars. I don't play the guitars, man. That's up to you. Look, you're better than this. You're better than this. You're better than this. That's going to be my guitar demos. You're better than this. You're better than this. I just play them. Or I just build them. Why do you think I have to play them? That's not good for guitar sales. I know, that's why I bring in other guitar players. I haven't been practicing. I've been building non-stop for months and months. You guys want to hear my cool new riff I came up with? Oh, wait. Taking when I get, I'ma get down. Taking when I go back down, I'ma back going down now. Oh yeah, taking when I go back, I'ma get down. I don't sell the guitars. That's my original. That's a Hank Butt original. See, that's the thing. The more I play guitars, the less I sell. Maybe a hobo. A hobo could play better than me. I got into guitar building because my good friend is a guitar builder. And she had been trying to get me to play guitar for years, or build guitars. And I had built clarinets. I had done clarinets for about 6 years. And then I came into the shop and I started building ukuleles, and then got into electric guitars. And then people on the stream were like, hey, we want some Hank guitars. And then I started building my own guitars, and that's how I ended up here. Thank you for those clips. I don't know if I'll be able to watch them later. I kind of fell into guitar building. There's the Hank song. This is the guitar version of the Hank song. I can just talk over this. Let me tell you, it's been a long road. It's just random. I never dreamed. You're working on designing your third build now? That's awesome. Beep, we have a group Discord with a bunch of other luthiers, builders, enthusiasts here on Twitch if you're interested. There's a bunch of other builders. Some guys just starting out, some people who've been doing it for a while, some professional technicians. Good group of individuals. But what are you working on right now? A baritone electric, nice. Immersive Sinner has been working on his baritones as well. I've never built a baritone. I built a baritone ukulele, but not a baritone electric. What were your other two builds? It does sound nice. This is a nice sounding guitar. Like with somebody who actually has like talent playing. That semi-hollow walnut, it's got a... That's what I can do. But come on, you can't deny that sounds really nice. So you could imagine somebody. So this is a walnut semi-hollow. Beautiful sound. Beautiful sound. Some vintage style. These are the Tone Rider. These are the inexpensive Tone Rider pickups, and they sound great. A Telestrat of your own design. That's awesome. I did kind of my own version. This is my own version of the Tele, of kind of a Tele thin line. I call it the Big River. That's. Please watch your clip. Oh, here. Okay, let's check out your clip. We got a new Hank song. I got a new Hank song. Yeah, that's my new Hank song. You guys don't know my new Hank song? It's like it's hip hop. It's country hip hop.
I'm gonna get down, take it when I go back down. I'm gonna go right down now. Oh yeah, I'm gonna take it when I go back. I'm gonna get down.
That's an excellent. You guys like my new direction that I'm going with this thing? Country hip hop. Oh man. Oh, Emmett. Are you okay, Emmett? Emmett is here. He just wanted to get his. Oh, Emmett, come here. He just wanted his ball thing. Come on. Anyway, so I got the Big River, and then I have this one. This is my last build. This is called the Roya, and this is my fancy build. It's Buckeye Burl, glossy finish on there, Padauk body, maple neck with a Padauk scarf, bird's eye maple fingerboard with some Seymour Duncan Antiquities hip shot bridge and hip shot tuners. So this is my Strat style. So I have kind of my Tele guitar, and then I have my Strat. So it's the Roya and the Big River. This is the Roya, which means dream. Anyway, making fun of me and my guitar playing. Look, I don't have to play the guitars. The guitars sell themselves. Where's your Roya? Do you want a Roya? This one sold. Actually, Rage, I have a Roya. I'm working on. What about this Roya here with the terrible blemish in the wood? Oh, where's Megan? Megan is driving back today. I think she's on the road right now. She's going to be back tomorrow night. She'll be back in Vancouver tomorrow night. Yeah. So this Roya, oh wait, not this one. Sorry, I keep getting confused as to what I'm doing. So I got two guitars I'm working on right now. This one is a Tele style guitar. It's going to be black. I got the Rich Light fingerboard, and it's going to be black with a black matte body and a red Tort pickguard with chrome hardware. The other one I'm working on is going to be a semi-hollow Roya. All black hardware, same thing. Richlight fingerboard, maple neck. It's going to have a wraparound bridge though. I don't think I brought it today. I should have brought them so I could show you all the hardware I got. It's going to have P90s, a wraparound bridge, and it'll be a 25-inch scale length with 24 frets. So it'll be similar in a way to a PRS rather than a Fender. This Roya here is more like a Fender in its layout. It's 25.5-inch scale length. It's like a hardtail Strat basically, and it's flat. So I'm going to change a few things. I'm changing a few things. I want to try something different with the Roya because I want to use different sorts of bridges. Those hip shot bridges are fine. They're very low profile. It depends. The wraparound bridges, they're a little bit trickier because then you have to do a 4-degree angle in your neck. So they're like, putting them on is like a tom bridge. But the problem with them is if they are low quality or the wood that you have is too soft, they will pull because all of your the tension is just in those two posts, right? So I'm using maple. You can use mahogany, that would work. I think walnut would work, but I wouldn't use more softer woods with one because like I wouldn't use something like basswood would pull. Maybe I wouldn't even use alder, I think, with it either. So I would definitely use more dense woods for the body when doing or doing wooden or maple dowels into it to keep it where you're going to put the posts underneath the top so you don't see it. But that's the one thing is if the wood is too soft, they will pull a bit. Or if it is not a good quality metal, if it's a lot of the cheaper wraparound bridges are zinc alloy, which is fine, it works, but that's a lot of pressure on the bridge. You know, that's like, what is it? How much pounds does an electric guitar have? Like, it's over 100 pounds. So that's the one downside is make sure that the body is a good solid piece of wood, or else it will, because if it pulls forward, that'll mess up your intonation. If it pulls too forward, it just won't be intonated right and won't stay in tune, which is kind of annoying. This is the first time I'm using a wraparound bridge, because eventually I didn't get a super cheap one, but I didn't get a fancy one either. I didn't get a Godo. I got something in between. I forget what company it is, but I got kind of a mid-range wraparound, 100 to 120 pounds. Yeah. Bare knuckle. Does bare knuckle make I think the best is just, honestly, the hip shot hardtail bridges are really good, really solid, really easy to install. You don't have to do an angle. I want to use a hip shot baby grand. That's why I'm doing this. You meant hip shot. Yeah, hip shot is really good, not bare knuckle. Yeah. Hip shot is really good. They do really quality stuff. Their stuff is more expensive because it's milled out of brass, or I believe they use